It's a fresh start for Supergirl. Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read it dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. This is a rebirth, a DC rebirth. It is not a reboot, it is a new status quo as DC brings back the things that you loved about your favorite superheroes and puts them into the existing timeline. We're going to be showcasing select issues of the rebirth to let you know the starting points for these series. Each of these rebirth comics is continued in the mainline book of the same name. This is Supergirl Rebirth, and it all begins in Argo City with the survivors of Krypton's destruction. Zor-El, Kara's father, was sentencing Laron, a Kryptonian that was experimenting with red kryptonite. It was banned by the council, and Laron thought that it would help his family and survivors, so he risked experimenting it on his own. Due to the dangerous nature of his experiments and what it's done to him, Zor-El banished him to the Phantom Zone, an alternate dimension that the Kryptonians use as the ultimate prison. He was sentenced there until a cure for his condition could be found. Now, on current-day Earth, Kara Zor-El is seeking a cure of her own. Her powers have been on the fritz, working only once in a while since their last adventures. The plan was simple. She has the Department of Extra-Normal Operations, the DEO, blasting her off into space with a plan to revive her powers. Her foster mother, Eliza Danvers, watches, hoping that it'll work, and her foster father, Jeremiah Danvers, walks over asking if he missed the launch, and Eliza tells him he did, but Kara can hear them. Then a massive phantom radiation spike hits the area, and it spits out Laron, letting him hit the ground. Everyone on the surface of the planet begins to panic, and Kara Zor-El can hear it in her comms, and she asks what's going on. But Laron looks up and sees a full moon. He begins to panic because he knows what the moon will do to him. It'll trigger his red kryptonite sickness. He then transforms into a red werewolf type creature and begins to tear through the soldiers on the ground. The director calls up to Kara, panicking, asking her what the situation is because they need Supergirl. There is nothing that she can do. She grows closer and closer to her target, which is the sun, while the red wolf monster is tearing people apart until her ship is swallowed up by the radiation of the glowing star. That's when Supergirl flies out of it. With her powers restored, she rockets off towards the planet. It's time for her to save the day. The wolf creature keeps tearing through people, and they call it a monster, and he decides that if they want a monster, he'll give them a monster. That is, until Supergirl storms the base, grabbing the wolf creature and taking him out into the open air. She then launches him into the sky and throws him into a rock nearby. The whole time he's speaking Kryptonian, so she asks him in Kryptonian who is he, because Zor-El was her father, which of course makes him madder. He begins to send off his own fiery eye beams, and Supergirl responds by throwing rocks down at him and then flying in with full force. As they struggle back and forth, she tries to explain that Argo is gone. Everything is lost, and he begins to understand that this is his future, a world without Argo. Then the sun rises and the moon begins to fade. He begins to change back into a normal Kryptonian as Supergirl has won because her opponent is no longer a threat. They place Laron into a medical chamber and it begins to make Kara think, who did her father become once she was gone? If what Laron claims is true, then maybe he wasn't the same man. The next morning, Supergirl helps them rebuild the launch site from the damage, and then she heads off to National City, where the DEO headquarters is located. The head of the DEO explains Kara's new identity is that of Kara Danvers. Her foster parents will be her parents as far as the people of Earth are concerned, and hopefully, Kara will find her place in this world as Superman did. So, she began high school in her new life. But back on the destroyed Argo City, the question still remains. What happened to Zor-El once Kara left? With a cape on his back, he walked into a destroyed chamber, 100% alive, where he opened a coffin and revealed a new threat to Supergirl. Now, if you've been following Supergirl since the New 52, you are aware that this is a completely new direction for the character. But you need to keep in mind, whoever wrote those original storylines isn't here anymore. It's like having a new season of a new TV show with a brand new writer. They need to go in their own direction, and that's exactly what they're doing. And it looks like they're going to be lining this up with what the TV show has been doing. Hopefully, it will be as good as the old Supergirl comics were, because I'm gonna check it out and try to stick with it. Don't forget to check it out yourself by clicking the link down below, and I'll see you guys next time right here at Comicstorian.